everybody. How are you doing? Whew, it's incredibly hot in here, so we're gonna be shinier than ever. Also, something is wrong with our camera. I'm gonna be yellower than ever as well. Hello, a friend. Hello, Bianca. Hello, Jason. Hello, nerds like us. No spamming, please. Hello, Tone. Is your channel shadow banned? Probably. Couldn't find your live stream. Yeah, that's why I waited for almost 5 minutes because nobody was here yet. Yeah, could be shadow banned. I complained to YouTube about my last video not doing so well, and I got like a bot response, and then like that was on Twitter. In my like send feedback, they didn't respond at all. And then the assholes, they DM'd me like a survey, and I was like, survey for what? You sent me a fucking bot response. So weird. So yeah, I'm probably shadow banned now. I've probably made it worse with my logic and directness. Probably made it worse for myself. You're alive and we can hear you. That's good. What's up, Laura? How are you doing? Yeah, no spamming. You never had it listed for followers, never showed on my list your brain video. Yeah, it still should have showed up for you though. So it is a tactic that I'm not gonna try again, definitely. It worked once and it failed twice. And I'm not gonna make videos anyways for a while, because even when I don't do that, my videos are not succeeding, like at all. And the effort is just not worth it. That just seems to be the situation on YouTube right now, right? What I could do, right, is like repurpose this channel to like a political channel and start talking absolute shit that I know nothing about, and then I would skyrocket for sure. I could do that, but I'm not gonna. How about Cheap posting your video on his channel? There was a bump of like 4 people, 4 views. He did post, I think, maybe not him, but somebody, 2 people shared it and it was a small bump. Jason, I asked him to share it on Reddit. It was downvoted into oblivion, but it gave a little bump for some reason. It gave bump in views, not in watch hours, so nobody watched it. Basically is what I'm trying to say. That it's dead in the water. Months of work just gone. I bet politics are more censored than veganism. Whoa, Alpha Caros, you are so wrong. Especially the channels that talk absolute bollocks about it. Holy shit, are they successful. They get monetized in a month. And I saw that happen to somebody. I saw that happen. It's actually like a political channel that I watch. And she talks a lot of some good stuff, but a lot just like stupid shit as well. So, you know, and she was monetized within a month. So that's absolutely incorrect. Could do that. Nice that you all found the stream. Thank you, hit like. All right, the 10 of us are gonna have some hopefully fun. I don't know. We will see. That's rearranged all wrong. So, oops. Give me a sec, guys. That's arranged really weirdly. Gonna bring myself down here, and background. No, that's not it. Screen sharing. Come on, let me. Let me. Why aren't you letting me? Sorry, guys. This is really annoying. But I changed it for last week, and now it's really annoying. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we gonna ask ChatGPT actually quite a few things. So this just accidentally occurred yesterday. I was like obsessed about knowing what fallacies people commit when they say things like the people in Antarctica or the Inuit people or whoever the fuck can't go vegan. Therefore, I also don't have the moral obligation to go vegan, right? It has many forms, this claim, but it's very often presented to us. Why do you have Skrillex? Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm a boomer, so I have no idea what that means. But, you know, Lord, when you enter somebody's chat, just say hello to the people in the chat before you start insulting the person who's doing the live stream. That's just a polite thing to do, okay? Maybe you're not insulting. Maybe you're giving me a compliment. I don't know. No idea. So I asked ChatGPT this. People in Antarctica can't go vegan, therefore don't have a moral obligation to go vegan. What fallacies this is. Now, we know it's not an appeal to nature fallacy. And when Felic ran it, it gave it that it's an appeal to nature fallacy. But that's not it. It would be an appeal to nature fallacy to say, well, we're going to ask ChatGPT that question as well. So it gave me a stack of, sorry, can we see okay? It gave me like a stack of fallacies that this thing is, right? One of them is false equivalence, right? It says people in Antarctica can't go vegan is not logically equivalent to I can't go vegan or I don't have to go vegan, right? Are they drawing a parallel between situation, their situation and extreme, it says? And that's just changing the context of the question, right? So the environment, options, and moral agency are not equivalent, so using one to justify the other is flawed, right? You still haven't said hello, Lord. Say hello to the chat. And incredibly nice people. Amazing people, actually, right? Vegans are like a mental health issue. Like it's okay to eat what you want, but they do try to force their beliefs on others. Well, here is the thing, Lord. How can it be a mental health issue to not generalize and ignore the fact that the production of animal products actually has consequences on the animals who are bred, exploited, tortured, and killed for those products? How could it be a mental illness to acknowledge that and try to correct that through changes in personal behaviors, right? And through asking other people to change as well, right? So telling other people, listen, it's not forcing somebody to do anything. I can't force you to be vegan. I wish I could, frankly. I think everybody, the entire population of human beings would actually greatly benefit if we could actually force everybody to go vegan. It would be incredibly beneficial to humanity. But unfortunately, we can't. All we can do is say, there are victims to your decisions, and you have the choice to choose differently, right? You have a different choice. That's all we're saying. But we're going to ask what this, your claim of yours, what kind of fallacy it is as well. So I'm going to add it. Thank you for your contribution to this live stream. I'm going to add it to a list, right? And if anybody else also has propositions of what we should add to our questioning today, we'll do that. But let's continue. So the second fallacy that this question makes, it's a logical, informal logical fallacy, right? Is an appeal to exception, special pleading, it's also called. So if the argument is framed as, because there is an exception somewhere, I don't have to abide by the rule, right? So it's an appeal to exceptions, suggesting that the existence of exceptions, like people in remote and extreme environments, invalidates the general principle that those with access to plant-based options have a moral reason to go vegan. So, Lord, I hope you're listening. Again, can't force you. Wish I could, but I can't. All I can do is tell us our position and show you how usually the reasoning against veganism is fallacious, right? Red herring is another fallacy that it just stocks on top of it. It might also function as a distraction tactic. That's for sure. They are trying to diffuse their own responsibility. What's up? The real thing, what's up, Tone? By the way, hello, Dave, the FTA as well. Appeal to minority, it didn't say that, and I'm not sure if that's an actual informal fallacy. We'll find out, though. We'll find out. Maybe it will appeal to minority at some point. So distraction, instead of discussing their own moral choices, right? You hear that, Lord? If you have internet, you have a choice to either exploit and slaughter animals or not. So instead of discussing your own, they divert to the conversation to hypothetical marginal cases, avoiding the actual issue at hand. It also proposed that it's a tu quoque, but I think it's not. I think that's wrong, right? I then ask, what if they say everyone does it? Therefore, it's okay if I do it too. Who wants to see me? Somebody wants to see me. That's all right. So it says that this is also a fallacious argument, and it's an appeal to popularity. That's what it is. So everyone does it, so it must be acceptable and right. This fallacy assumes that widespread acceptance of participation in behavior means that the behavior is morally justified or correct, which is, of course, it's not. Populations can be wrong. Populations often are wrong when it comes both to morality and empirical claims, stuff like that. We do have like extreme examples in the past, like slavery used to be okay. Just straight up absolute murder used to be okay. Rape used to be okay. All of those things used to be totally okay. And those people who committed those crimes, moral crimes, just to make sure that we understand each other, and not necessarily legal crimes, they probably used those fallacies as well, saying, well, a lot of people rape, so therefore it's okay. When was murder okay? Probably somewhere prehistorically, for sure, right? People used to kill each other all the time for stupid shit, absolutely stupid, unjustified reasons. But also the laws kind of like actual, like, when did the laws start? Right, around like 4,000 to 6,000 BC, something like that, right? Before that, what's the name? Hammurabi, something like that. Before Hammurabi, there were no laws. So people could kill each other. That was not, there wasn't legality to it, right? And now you can say, okay, legality doesn't equal morality, but we just don't know what was or wasn't moral back then, right? We could go into like look for old-fashioned writings, and maybe we find out that people always thought it was wrong. It's just that the legal action didn't get up to it, right? In the past, at least in the past 10,000 years or so. But before that, sheesh, we find murder victim mummies slash bones all the goddamn time, right? So there are like full, speaking of full YouTube channels that talk about like past true crime, and that includes like the mummies and shit. So there you go. I hope that answers your question, Alpha Caros. Snowmobiles, I don't know what that means. In Greenland, they have access to vegetables imported, but they also grow their own. Yeah, totally. People can be vegan in Greenland, and even if they can't, can be the last ones to go vegan, and we can just send them more food. Like, you know, the way every country sends food to other countries for free all the goddamn time. So we can do that for Greenland, just to stop the exploitation and murder of animals. All right, so that was that. So let's put in our new proposition from Sir Lord Alcatraz, right? So let's continue the same conversation. What fallacy or fallacies would be in the claim vegans are like a mental health issue? Let's give it a little bit of a grammar correction, shall we? No offense, Lord. It's not everyone's ability to have good grammar. Like a mental health issue, it's okay to eat what you want, but they try to force their beliefs on others. Let's see if it spits out any fallacies, right? That statement contains multiple, I hope you're still listening, Lord, multiple informal fallacies rolled into one. I thought so. Let's break down and identify each one. Ad hominem, vegans are like a mental health issue. That's indeed ad hominem. That would be, if it was substantiated, an empirical claim, which demands evidence. If vegan was part of, what's the name of the thing? DNC1, I think? Something like that, or DNC6. What's the name of the... Can anybody remember? What's the name of the psychiatry list of mental illnesses? Let me check, sorry. Psychiatry list of mental illnesses. DSM. Yeah, okay. DSM-6, I think, is the most updated one. So if veganism was part of DSM, for instance, then it wouldn't be a fallacy. But since it's not, this is just an ad hominem attack. An ad hominem just means you calling us names. So, you know. So this is actually what ad hominem means. It's calling us names instead of providing an actual argument. This is a direct attack of the character or mental stability of vegans instead of addressing the ethical argument they raise. It's classic ad hominem, dismissing a viewpoint by discrediting the person or group holding it. Indeed. So it would find the black slavery abolitionists 400 years ago and calling them the N-word instead of actually addressing their demands to be free, right? The big book here. Some pills, yeah. It's a straw man. They try to force their beliefs on others. This misrepresents vegan advocacy as coercion rather than persuasion or ethical argument. Most vegans advocate for animal rights through education, not force. That is true. This is a straw man fallacy. It sets up a distorted version of veganism, then attacks that distorted version instead of engaging with the actual ethical position. So Lord, seriously, I hope you are listening, right? We are all in the same boat. We are all learning how to properly talk to each other, right? So I don't know. I hope you are still here. It's a red herring as well. It's okay to eat what you want. This is a distraction from the core ethical claim vegans usually make, which is why I answered what I answered to you. That eating animals causes unnecessary harm and suffering. Instead of addressing that, it shifts to personal choice, diverting the discussion. Fallacy number 4, it's an appeal to personal freedom, a misused one. So it's okay to eat what you want, again. While personal freedom is important, invoking it in a moral discussion without addressing harm is a non sequitur. It falsely, what is a non sequitur? Let's find out together. What is a non sequitur? An inference or conclusion that does not follow from the premises or from evidence. Okay. It falsely assumes that freedom to choose overrides ethical consequences, which is a form of moral relativism if used to shut down debate. Okay. So it's 4 fallacies in one tiny sentence, which is very, very interesting, Lord. I hope you were listening. So I have a list of arguments against veganism here. And guys, if you want to propose something that you've heard in the past, Alpha Cars, if you want to propose some of your bullshit to us, we can check if it's a fallacy, what you're doing. Yeah, it is pretty impressive tone. So Lord, take the compliment in only few words, under 200 characters. You've made 4 logical fallacies. That is indeed impressive. So some of those are just empirical claims, so we can't actually check if it's an empirical claim. It's probably not going to be something that is a logical fallacy. It just needs to be proven or disproven. So a lot of these are not going to be something that we can use for this exercise, I would say. But let's go through it anyways. Maybe I can for the sake of people who coming in here for the first time, if there are any in here listening to us, maybe I can go through them one by one and also like really quickly debunk them. Really quickly, in my case, could be, I don't know. I'm gonna try really, really hard to do it really quickly. So where do you get your protein? From plants. Don't you need fish for omega-3 fats? No, you can have flaxseed instead. You can't get vitamin B12 from plants. Well, you can get it from a supplement, which is still not an animal source. So that's fine. That's vegan. You can't get enough iron from plants. Yes, you can, especially if you eat it with vitamin C. So tofu has a lot of iron, so do greens. You can't get enough calcium without milk. No, again, tofu is for the win. It has a lot of calcium. Soy products aren't healthy. Soy products are incredibly healthy in the scientific literature. Let's say there are much more positive responses to soy than there are any kind of negative, and the negative responses are only probably allergies or something like that. Veganism relies on monoculture farming of grains. That's not sustainable. Oh, that's something that we can maybe actually check. Let's try to do that. We'll see. Maybe it will give us what fallacies does the following argument commit? Commit, is that the proper thing to say? Argument commit. Let's try. Let's see. I don't know if there is an actual. Well, there is. Okay. And okay. Well, of course, all of those claims that I went through are, of course, going to be a straw man because, of course, empirically they are incorrect. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, let's go through it anyways. Bianca says there are plants containing enough B12, but nobody wants to eat duckweed on a daily basis. So supplements are easier. Not only easier, they are generally, I would claim, in the 21st century, they're generally the best way to get your nutrition through supplementation, because it doesn't have the negative effects that food might have. Every food has some negative effects. Some foods have a lot of negative effects. Animal products. Some foods have a little bit of negative effects, but mostly positive, right? But supplements have none of that shit. It's just all positive. It's just all increasing your nutrition without calories, without saturated fats, without anything, right? There is nothing in there. It's just the supplement. And I don't know, maybe like methyl cellulose to bind the entire thing together. Interesting how those claims don't mention the animals. Yeah, I know. We'll get there though. What fallacy does the following argument commit? Veganism relies on monoculture farming of grains, and that's not sustainable. The argument veganism relies on monoculture, not sustainable, can contain multiple fallacies again, depending on how it's used in context. Here's the breakdown. Strawman fallacy, the argument misrepresents veganism as being inherently dependent on monoculture grain farming. While some plant-based products do come from monocultures, veganism is an ethical stand that doesn't prescribe how plants should be farmed. It simply rejects animal exploitation. ChatGPT is becoming like a real chat, guys. Really, for real. It's learning immensely. Maybe it's only learning about me, I don't know. And that's why it appeases me or something like that. But it's doing a fantastic job so far at pointing out the fallacies, I think. Better than me, that's for sure. So this creates a straw man, attacking a simplified or distorted version of veganism rather than the actual position. False cause, so post hoc or oversimplification. That's another informal fallacy. Hello, Ariane. If you would like to propose any of your arguments, we can check from ChatGPT if it's a fallacious reasoning or if it's actually true, right? This is what we're doing. We are confronting arguments against veganism, and we are checking if it's fallacious reasoning or if something is actually like true, real, convincing, right? Vitamin E supplementation has negative effects, and you check that. What are the negative effects of vitamin E? Please tell me. Gosh. And even recommend it to others on Discord. Yeah, it's a supplement. I recommend supplements, all supplements. But you would have to provide evidence now, Alpha Caros. You know my email. Go for it. We'll provide evidence. That's it. There's no reason to yap in here. Go, send me the evidence. I'm going to check it out today. Maybe through ChatGPT or something. But, you know, I can actually read the goddamn thing. And this time, Alpha Caros, I'm not going to be nice to you the way I was to you about your claim about collagen, right? Where I was incredibly nice to you in a way that you walked away thinking that you actually provided evidence for your claim, where you clearly didn't. So this time I'm not going to be nice, right? I'm going to be truthful as I see the evidence presented in front of me, right? False cause, implying that veganism causes monoculture or that it's uniquely responsible for it. This ignores the fact that most monoculture grains, soy, corn, wheat, are grown to feed livestock, not humans directly, and that animal agriculture is a major driver of both monoculture and deforestation. So the causal link is misrepresented. Monoculture isn't caused by veganism, but by industrial agriculture overall, much of which supports animal farming. There you go. It also is an inconsistency fallacy or special pleading. If the speaker eats animal products but criticizes vegans for grain monocultures, this can be an inconsistency, true. And it's something that we could point it out, because animal agriculture relies heavily on grain monocultures, often more than plant-based diets do. It's inconsistent to use that criticism against veganism without applying it to omnivorism. True. And it's a red herring, of course. All of it is red herring. The ethical basis of veganism is about animal exploitation, not an agricultural perfection. So bringing up sustainability as a deflection is a red herring if the original topic about animal rights or moral obligations. There you go. Optional slippery slope or hasty generalization. If the speaker claims veganism will lead to ecological collapse via monoculture, they might also be committing a slippery slope fallacy, predicting dramatic negative consequences without evidence, hasty generalization, assuming all vegan food comes from monocultures, which is, of course, it doesn't. If you eat like a pig, moderate consumption doesn't affect what? Doesn't affect what? But by the way, thank you for saying kind of hello, I think, with your little red icon there, emoji. Right, let's continue. Let's see what else we can get. Veganism requires supplements. That proves that's not healthy. This is a conversation I'm having right now on Twitter, and it's fun as usual, since something fun to tell you guys. So we discovered that the person that's making this specific claim that veganism is not healthy because it requires supplements, we find out that this person is actually vitamin D deficient. So I called him a plonker or something to that affair, and I told him to take a supplement, you dummy. I hope he does. What fallacies in the argument? Let's go. So, the argument veganism requires supplements. Maybe I should make it bigger, guys, for you to be able to see. And maybe I should put it in the bind as well. There you go. Sorry about that. Where are we? Oh, no, it's too big for me to... Okay, there you go. So the argument veganism requires supplements, that proves it's not healthy, commits several informal fallacies. Here's the breakdown. False cause, post hoc, ergo propter hoc. I learned this lately. So post hoc means post rationalization. No. Post hoc means something preceded X. Ergo is therefore. Prompter hoc, therefore that's something caused X. So if something preceded whatever, it means that it caused it. That's a logical fallacy, because it could be that's not the thing that caused the thing to happen at all. It falsely assumes a causal link. If a diet requires supplements, it must be unhealthy. But requiring supplements doesn't prove a diet is unhealthy. Many non-vegan diets are supplemented, either individually, meaning vitamin D, iron, folic acid, or through fortified animal feed and processed food. I made this point to my Twitter interlocutor many, many times. The causal reasoning here is flawed. Fallacy number 2, hasty generalization. The conclusion that veganism is unhealthy is based on a single data point, supplement use, without looking at broader evidence. This ignores the extensive research showing that well-planned vegan diets can meet all nutritional needs and reduce the risk of various chronic diseases. There you go. Or you can take a multi-supplement, the way I do it. There are, unless Alpha Caros is gonna send me evidence, there are no detriments to taking a multi-supplement. You just can take one. Or you can plan the diet. I did both. I just don't want to do it anymore. So I take a multi. I spent a whole minute waiting to type in here the list you could do. Could have done was say hi to me and not obligate me to say hi after waiting. Lord, first of all, yeah, when you enter somebody's chat, it's your obligation to say hi, not mine. Second, well, this is recorded. Sounds, I could have said hi. I don't remember if I did. But third, Lord, were you here when ChatGPT actually claimed that your argument against veganism and vegans was actually committed 4 fallacies? Were you here when we explained how this is actually logically incoherent argument? I hope you were. We're learning together, after all, right? This is really important for us to learn as well. Guys, I'm going to make it a little smaller because it's hard for me to navigate. So, where are we? Double standard. Hasty generalization. The conclusion that veganism is unhealthy is based on a single data point, supplement use, without looking at the broader evidence. This ignores the extensive research showing that well-planned vegan diets can meet all nutritional needs and reduce the risk of various chronic diseases. Double standard or inconsistency. If the person doesn't also apply the same logic to omnivorous diet, which often require the or benefit from supplements too, example is vitamin D, omega-3, B12 in older adults and in sick people, this is an inconsistent standard. Animal products don't naturally contain B12 either. The B12 in meat comes from supplemented feed or contaminated soil bacteria. There you go. Not only that, oh, that's an explanation. This is an inconsistent standard because they don't apply it to the omnivores who also take supplements, right? Appeal to nature implied. There's often, true, unstated assumption here. If a diet were truly natural or healthy, it wouldn't need supplements. True, it does apply that. But also, back to here, because it's double standard, because the omnivores, the modern omnivorous diets are also not natural, not even a little bit. And also require supplementation, as ChatGPT pointed out. So that's an appeal to nature fallacy, equating natural with good or healthy. Many safe and beneficial modern practices aren't natural, like vaccine, glasses, pasteurized milk, although this is, for some reason, is becoming under contention lately. Gosh, I hope very little people die, frankly. Okay. Guys, if you want to propose something to check into ChatGPT, please tag me so that I can see it, because I'm not following the chat very well today. Okay, let's continue. Vegans can't gain weight muscle to excel in sports like football. Ooh, I can't wait to listen to that one, actually. What fallacies in... There you go. And play. The argument vegans can't gain weight muscle to excel in sports like football contains multiple informal fallacies. I would get used to it, but I can't. Maybe this is what I should do from now on. Just do fucking activism with ChatGPT and just put a claim in there and ask what fallacies this commits. Oh, that could be funny. Maybe I'll do that next week. Maybe I'll do that. I should probably keep my house with lights low for the next week or so that I could justify this. I don't know. Keep my lights low anyways. So hasty generalization. It makes a sweeping claim based on little or no evidence. It assumes that all vegans are unable to gain muscle or perform athletically, ignoring the existence of elite vegan athletes. like the NFL player, like Derek Morgan. Should probably write that down and put it in my site that I'm creating. That's what I'm gonna do. Where is my, I do have vegans can't be athletes thingy. There you go. I'm just gonna add a text and we'll add Derek Morgan, and we should probably put it right there. And bodybuilders like Nimai Delgado. Should I put Nimai in my site? Probably. He's a cool guy, vegan for a long time, vegetarian from birth, I think. And endurance athletes like Scott Jurek. We're gonna check out Scott Jurek as well. We're learning so much today. That's awesome. All right. Or one or a few cases don't justify a universal claim. That's true. Usually they look like, so this is the thing. I think like men who are skinnier, right? Vegan men who are skinnier, bless you. Awesome look, love it. So all love and respect, really, for real, for real. I think it's like reversed causality, actually. I have this thing that I can't prove, obviously. I think that like skinnier men are generally just not as striving to be masculine, and therefore they're more likely to go vegan, or not. They don't strive to be like classically or like toxically masculine. Right. What do you think about that, Sheep? Hello. I was just saying that I have this thought that maybe skinny men are more likely to go vegan because they don't adhere to these like manliness standards, right? Anyways, in the first place, or don't adhere to it as much, and therefore they're more likely to go vegan, right? But also, skinny became like this, I don't know, like an insult where, why? Skinny is generally more helpful, not more helpful than having like some at least muscle mass, but it's still more helpful than most population, I think. I think not skinny, but confident in their body, yeah? Right, Chip, what we are doing is that we are putting anti-vegan arguments into ChatGPT and ask it to tell us what fallacies those arguments commit. So hefty generalization again, it assumes all vegans, well, we went through this. False cause, the claim suggests that being vegan causes a lack of muscle or athletic performance, but whether someone gains muscle depends on caloric intake, macronutrient distribution, training, and genetics, not just whether they eat animal products. It reduces a complex outcome to a single irrelevant factor. Fallacy number 3 in such a short place. Wait, says Tone, are you saying VPM isn't awesome? Just list them separately? What? I don't know what you're saying there. So the third one is ignoring contradictory evidence, obviously. It's a form of cherry picking. Interesting. So it ignores real world counterexamples, vegan athletes who have gained size and strength. If you disregard existing evidence that disproves your point, you are committing a kind of confirmation bias or cherry picking fallacy. There you go. And 4 is stereotyping. Indeed. I've been called the F slur in the past 24 hours, like twice, in a Discord server that has a label of a leftist Discord server, and I was called the F slur twice because I have an undercut. So, you know, people are assuming things about it. Those things just happen to be true. I am an F slur, but I know plenty heterosexual AFAB people who are heterosexual, as I said. So it's stereotyping, indeed. It's a form of group-based generalization attributing a characteristic, weak, thin, non-athletic, to all members of the group based on a biased or uninformed view. There you go. Balanced diet is best with meat and veggies, no overeating. Well, we're gonna check it. Thank you for your admission, Arian. Let's check if that's correct. If what fallacies this commits, if any. Maybe this is not fallacious reasoning at all. Maybe, fuck me. Maybe this is correct. Let's see. What fallacies in... Fallacies in... Are you listening, Arian? I hope you're listening. Let's check it out. Thank you for your submission. The statement balanced diet is best with meat and veggies, no overeating, sounds reasonable on the surface. But if it's being used as an argument against veganism, then it can involve several informal fallacies, depending on context and intent. Of course, it was said in my chat against vegan arguments. So there you go, Ariane, I hope you're listening, because we're here to learn, right? This is not non-judgmental kind of situation. We're just here to learn so that we don't reason fallaciously anymore, right? So the first fallacy is begging the question, assuming the conclusion. It assumes that a balanced diet must include meat, which is exactly what's being debated. This is begging the question. The conclusion meat is part of a healthy diet is smuggled into the premise balanced equals meat plus veggies. Indeed. That's why I ask people in Discord usually balanced between what and what. And the answer usually is balanced between this ingredient and this ingredient. And that's kind of weird. As a fellow vegan, using AI is hypocritical. Please do research on the environmental impact of using artificial intelligence and fix your behavior. I appreciate Grim, first of all, when you come into a chat, please say hello. I will take on Lord's suggestion and say hi to you. But also, yes, I have researched. Generating images is some of an impact, right? It's like charging your phone once, generating one image. Generating words isn't that bad anymore. It's just not as significant. I'm just gonna, for the next week, like reduce my consumption of lights and I'm gonna be good. I did do my research. But also it has environmental impacts, have nothing to do with actual veganism, so it wouldn't be hypocritical on the vegan position. I also happen to be an environmentalist, so it would be hypocritical on my environmentalist position if it was actually that significant of an increase, and if I didn't try to mitigate it through other sources. So that's why I'm sweating so much right now. I'm not turning on a fan, right? Veganism can absolutely be about the environment, Chip. That's not incorrect. Veganism is about not exploiting and slaughtering animals. So that's grim. That's a straw man, or not a straw man. That's just wrong. That's just incorrect. Veganism is never defined by its environmental impacts. There is some correlation between the two. I will give you that. Like, there is some correlation factually, but there isn't any like morally or principally. And I think Chip will have that conversation with you in my chat, and I will continue. So begging the question is assume that balanced diet. This is begging the question. The conclusion, meat is part of a healthy diet, is smuggled into the premise. Balanced equals meat plus veggies. It's also circular, Ariane. I hope you're listening. Because you say, well, balanced diet includes meats and veggies. Well, what makes it balanced, you would probably say is, well, it has both meats and veggies in them. So that would be circular reasoning. In reality, many health organizations recognize plant-based diets as nutritionally adequate, and balance doesn't inherently require animal products. There you go. That's fallacy number 1. Fallacy number 2, Ariane. And again, I appreciate your submission. False dilemma, if used prescriptively, right? That's how you used it. If the speaker implies there are only 2 options, a meat-inclusive balanced diet or an unbalanced vegan diet, then they are setting up a false dichotomy, ignoring the possibility of a balanced vegan diet with legumes, nuts, seeds, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. It also ignores the unbalanced diet, omnivorous diet that includes meat. ChatGPT doesn't say that, but I'm gonna say it. Appeal to tradition. That implies meat and veggies reflects a traditional Western or cultural plate, not necessarily the optimal or the only healthy one, right? If the statement it uses to justify eating meat because it's how it's always been, if that's your reasoning behind it, Ariane, it becomes an appeal to tradition fallacy. And it's also a red herring. Jesus, how many other? 4 fallacies, Ariane, you made in this one tiny sentence. So red herring is talking about moderation, and mixed diets can act as a distraction from ethical or environmental concerns raised by veganism. Look, Grim, ChatGPT is hallucinating with you, right? But in this case, it just doesn't know that the argument was made against veganism because I didn't specify to it. By focusing on a vague idea of balance and not overeating, the speaker may avoid addressing the real issue, whether eating animals is justifiable. So what do you think about that, Ariane? Maybe you should talk about the actual morality of eating animals, since it's very clear that a plant-based diet can be balanced, can be helpful. You don't need animal products in your diet for it to be balanced. It just distracts us from the actual issue. There you go. Let's continue. Vegan diets have too many carbs. Ooh. What fallacies in this statement? Fallacies. Damn it. Yeah. The claim vegan diets have too many carbs can commit multiple informal fallacies, especially when it's used to argue against veganism as a whole. Here's a breakdown of the fallacies involved. Hasty generalization. Sorry. Chip, what do you think? Maybe we should do activism just like that. We should sit in the dark to appease Grim, in complete darkness. Even maybe turn off our cameras, just to make sure we counter our use of ChatGPT. And then we can do the entire day. Everybody who makes a claim, we write it down, and we put it into ChatGPT, and we ask it to present the fallacies. And not only are we gonna educate people on informal fallacies, we can also just dismantle their position immediately right there, right? That could be interesting. Awesome. Right. Hasty generalization. It assumes that all vegan diets are high in carbs without considering variation. Of course, there are keto vegans. Not all vegan diets are the same. Some emphasize legumes and grains, others are high fat and whole food plant-based keto. And many include balanced macronutrient profiles. My diet is really weird right now. Now I'm trying to think how many calories I ate today. So far only around 600, I think, something like that. No, more. I think I'm already at like 900, so I have one more meal later today. VPM, I talked to someone, I think you'd lost patience. He was speaking so very much. I'm sorry for your loss of time, Chip. I'm so sorry. Fallacy day. Yeah. Let's do it, Chip. Let's make it happen. And we sit in the full dark to appease Grim. Full darkness. Not all vegan diets, so that's hasty generalization. Equivocation. Too many. Too many is vague and subjective. Compared to what? For whom? This is an equivocation fallacy? In what way? This can be a form of equivocation, using a relative or emotionally loaded term, too many, without defining it. Oh, I didn't know that's part of equivocation fallacy. I'm definitely learning something today, that's for sure. Using a relative or emotionally loaded term, too many, without defining it or supporting it with context. Total calorie intake, activity level, type of carbs. False cause. It implies that high carbohydrate content equals unhealthy, which is not inherently true. Carbs are not inherently bad. Whole food carbohydrate like sweet potatoes, fruits, legumes are associated with improved health outcomes, for sure. Saying vegan diets are bad because they are high carb is a causal oversimplification, for real. Cherry picking, stereotyping. It selectively highlights one nutrient trend in some vegan diets and treats it as a representative of all vegan eating. This fallacy, I'm actually kind of on a low carb diet right now. Relatively. I do eat fruit. Maybe I'm on a vegan animal-based diet because it's mostly like fruits and like tofu and other protein products. No, I'm joking. There's sucralose in my soy isolate. Well, I suppose sucralose wouldn't be considered a carb because it has like 0 calories. It wouldn't be considered a nutrient at all. Yeah, it could be. By the way, do you like my new thingy? Let me know if you liked my new background better, I guess. Right. So the fallacy ignores a well-structured vegan diet with balanced macronutrient and overemphasizes the carbs found in ultra-processed, poorly planned vegan meals. Sure. Anybody else? Guys, if you see somebody proposing something, please tag me. Because I love your proposals, Ariane. Please, tag me next time you are making an argument against veganism. So vegan diets have to have, this is again all about vegan diets, Jesus Christ. Okay, let's continue to my body craves animal products because I need the nutrition in them. This one is funny. This is gonna be many. I'm on a pseudo ancestral plant-based diet. Yeah. I did actually on Twitter, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you miss out very rarely, but sometimes. I did go on a vegan carnivore diet one day, and all of my meals that day were just basically a huge hunk of seitan cooked in canola oil. So it was really funny. It was a really funny thread that I updated throughout the day. Something cute to think about. So what fallacies in as an anti-vegan argument, just to make sure that it knows what we are doing here, because it did get confused before, right? You sent me some comments. Oh, fantastic. I appreciate that, Chip. Thank you very much. I heard the ping. We'll do it in a second. What's up, Gray? How you doing? Seed oils, yeah. Yeah, that was the funniest part about it. There was like a recurrence of seed oils, though, on Twitter. So I did that thing. I just created a blob of seitan and I cooked it on both sides in seed oils. First of all, the seitan came out absolutely fantastically delicious. And second, the thread itself was funny, to me at least. Right. You are giving feedback on your view version. Okay, thank you. We have 2 responses. We now have to respond to this. So response 1, the argument, we gotta participate, guys. We're getting a free version of this. Sorry, I'm thirsty, guys. Yesterday I did an 8-hour stream. It wasn't without consequences on my voice. My body craves animal products because I need the nutrition in them. Conneeds several informal fallacies. Ariane, I hope you're listening. Alpha Caros, I hope you're listening. When used as an anti-vegan claim. Here's a detailed breakdown. Appeal to nature or naturalistic fallacy. The speaker implies that because their body craves something, it must be good or necessary. This assumes that natural cravings are inherently healthy or ethically justified, which is a naturalistic error, for sure. You don't understand ChatGPT language. What do you mean? It's a pretty simple language. False cause. The names of the fallacies is just an informal fallacies. They are named not by ChatGPT, but the rest seems to be a pretty easy language. So oversimplification, called post hoc causal oversimplification. It assumes that craving animal products directly means the body needs them nutritionally, but craving can be influenced by habit, culture, marketing, deficiency-induced signals misread by the brain, and or pleasure-seeking. So there is no guaranteed causal link. Fallacy number 3. It always gives us 4 fallacies. Oh no, we're getting 5. Look at that. Nice. What a treat. Holy shit. Tone, you won't stop sending VPN notifications. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it loud? Maybe I can make it quiet or something. Give me a second. You sent several. You done. Let's continue this on and then we'll see. Appeal to experience, anecdotal evidence. Using personal bodily experience as proof for nutritional need is an anecdotal fallacy. Individual cravings don't represent universal nutritional truths. They vary widely and require scientific validation. Yeah, so it doesn't only not represent universal nutritional truths, it doesn't even represent personal nutritional truths. I, once in a while, it happens, crave cigarettes. I want to smoke one because I smoked for 25 years. So once in a while, especially in a stressful situation, I'm like, holy fuck, I wish smoking didn't cause cancer and a bunch of other stupid shit in my body. Because I would go back to smoking in a second, despite the terrible smell, if it wasn't like negatively impacting my body, right? I would go back in a second. All right. Begging the question, circular reasoning. The argument equates craving with nutritional necessity, assuming what it's trying to prove. That is, I crave it, therefore I need it, becomes the basis for concluding I need it, therefore I must consume it, which is circular. There you go, Ariane. We're learning new things. I hope you're listening. Frill. And there is a 5th fallacy in here. Misleading vividness. Never heard about this one. Misleading vividness. Cravings feel intense and personal and can be wrongly assumed. Chip, listen up to this. So you can actually use this, I think, I think this sounds up your alley to use in your advocacy. So cravings feel intense and personal and can be wrongly assumed to reflect deeper physiological need. That emotional intensity can mislead people into making unfounded generalizations about dietary necessity. I think I'm going to copy the entire thing into my site at some point. Rebuttal strategy. Oh, it gives us a rebuttal strategy. That's funny. Well, I think we understand the rebuttal strategies, but should we read the other one, guys? It also gives us exactly the same thing. My body craves, especially when used in an argument against veganism. contains several informous fallacies. Here's a breakdown. What's the difference between the two of those things? Oh, it gives us 3 battle strategies. That's the main difference between those. Oh, it gives us also false dichotomy in here. So it gave us different fucking fallacies for the same goddamn thing. Look at that. So appeal to nature, post hoc ergo propter hoc. That's a new one. Jesus, ChatGPT, why couldn't you just put all of them in the same thing? I crave animal products, therefore I must need them nutritionally. That is post hoc ergo propter hoc, definitely. So if something precedes X, therefore X is caused by the preceding thing. Hold on. So post hoc ergo propter hoc is X precedes Y, therefore X causes Y. I think that's wrong. I don't think it's post hoc ergo propter hoc. I don't think it applies. What do you think, Chip? I don't think it applies. It assumes a causal link. Yes, it assumes a causal link, but it doesn't assume that the cravings cause the thing. Correlation and not causation, just because it follows. Yeah, I know, but just because it follows. But here, this is not the claim. There is no claim that the I feel cravings, therefore those cravings cause my meat consumption or my need for nutrients or something like that. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure. I'm probably so. I think ChatGPT is flipping out a little bit. It's the other way around. That's what I'm thinking, Chip. So definitely this is not. We went from appeal to nature, circular reasoning. We went through that. I think we didn't, but it is circular reasoning. I pointed it out. I think anecdotal fallacy. Okay, this argument applies to personal experience as proof for a general nutritional truth. I don't think it implies that at all. I don't think they're saying I crave animal products, therefore animal products are healthy. I mean, they're kind of saying that. So maybe, and false dichotomy, the speaker if the speaker uses this to argue that for veganism isn't viable, yeah. So I think I prefer this one because this one didn't have as many issues. There you go. We participated, guys. Okay. So let's go to Chip's propositions. Let's see. Vegans confuse me. Let me just pop this out into here as well. Vegans confuse me. How you want to say abortion isn't murder, but then be morally outraged that we are eating eggs? What's the connection even? Okay, let's do that one. I'm going to put it there so that I can copy. What fallacies in this anti-vegan argument? Always a spell argument. How do vegans say abortion isn't murder? Some vegans would say that. That would be one of the fallacies, by the way. But we don't need to be morally outraged that we're eating eggs. There you go. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. The argument, how do vegans say abortion isn't murder, but we be morally outraged that we are eating eggs, commit multiple informal fallacies. Hello, John. How are you doing? How many do we have? Four fallacies again. But now we know that it keeps a few in the thing. So false equivalence. The argument draws a comparison between two fundamentally different issues: abortion, a human reproductive right, and eating eggs, exploitation of non-human animals, and treats them as morally parallel. But abortion involves human bodily autonomy. Egg consumption involves commodification and killing of non-human animals, often under severe suffering. Well, that's not why they're equating it, though. They're equating it because they assume that vegans assume that the eggs are fertilized, that there is a baby, quote unquote, baby chicken in the eggs. I think ChatGPT didn't understand the argument. Eating them ignores relevant moral, biological, and contextual differences, which make this a false equivalence. Strawman, this misrepresents the vegan position by oversimplifying it into vegans think eggs equals murder, but abortion doesn't equals murder. In reality, most vegans argue that unnecessary harm of animals is morally wrong, not that eating eggs is murder per se. That's true. This creates, if the claim is made eggs is murder. I always didn't like meat is murder either, because I think it always oversimplifies as well, but slogans do, right? But nobody ever says eggs are murder. They would say, well, eggs have the consequence of killing baby chicks and the egg-laying hens. This creates a distorted version of vegan ethical stance to make it easier to attack, indeed. It also says it's tu quoque, or U2, hypocrisy fallacy. The argument says, in effect, vegans are inconsistent or hypocritical, so their position on eggs is invalid. But even if a vegan were inconsistent on abortion, that wouldn't refute the ethical arguments against exploiting chickens. True. Pointing out perceived hypocrisy, are you listening, Grim? Is a diversion, not a rebuttal to the moral claim. Red herring. It distracts from the question whether egg consumption is ethical by dragging in a completely different moral issue, abortion, to shift focus. This changes the subject rather than addressing the actual concern raised by vegans, the exploitation and suffering of hens in the egg industry. I think the argument maker assumes that vegans think eggs are fertilized, therefore making the argument more related to veganism. Does this change your fallacy list? Let's see what it says. Great observation. Yes, if the argument assumes that vegans think eggs are fertilized, therefore contain developing embryos, and that's why they are morally opposed to eating them, that's a fallacy landscape shifting slightly. Right. Let's revise. So one is a strawman, still present. Core vegan objection to eggs is not based on the idea that they're fertilized or contain baby chicks. True. Most ethical vegans oppose egg consumption because the exploitation of hens, even backyard or free-range systems, the harm to female reproductive autonomy of animals. True. Yeah. The way it said it is kind of weird. The harm to female reproductive autonomy. The harm to female reproductive autonomy. Something about that sentence is not English per se, I think. and the routine killing of, but maybe ChatGPT is a fucking language model. It probably knows better than me. Something here rings wrong to me, like autonomy. It should be two separate arguments, I think. And the routine killing of male chicks in commercial hatcheries since they don't lay eggs or grow fast enough for meat. So the argument misrepresents the ethical reasoning behind veganism, attributing it to a belief about fertilization rather than mistaken or irrelevant. False premise leading to faulty comparison. If the argument rests on the false belief that vegans think eggs are fertilized, then when most aren't, not most. Who's the vegan who thinks that eggs are fertilized? That was like 2 weeks after going vegan. I already knew that it's not about the fertilized eggs. I personally knew that eggs commercially are not fertilized because I grew up with eating actual fertilized eggs. So I knew the difference between them. I knew the birds and the bees about the eggs as a child. Arian, don't forget to tag me if you are proposing another argument. So, false, blah, blah, blah. When most aren't, then the entire comparison becomes structurally unsound. Yeah, if you're basing your argument on a false premise, on a falsity, basically on an untrue thing, then the entire thing falls apart. That's not a named fallacy in itself, but it creates invalid reasonings. There you go. A faulty premise poisons the logic that follows. False equivalence, weakened but still possible. If the speaker thinks both abortion and eating fertilized eggs involve destroying a potential life, they're implying a moral parity. But again, there is a contextual, you can just bring it back on them. Oh, you're also hypocrite then. But again, there is a contextual and moral mismatch. Abortion involves human bodily autonomy and complex socio-political rights. Even fertilized eggs and chickens don't involve the same kind of personhood or moral status. Oh, I wouldn't say that. Like, if the human fetus has moral worth, then the chicken fetus has the same moral worth. I wouldn't say that at all. Okay, maybe some vegans would, so maybe ChatGPT is not hallucinating here. So false equivalence may still apply. Yeah, maybe. To quoque still applies and red herring still applies. All right, next one. This is from Chip. Soft, weak-ass vegan. Spotted, go cry a river, snowflake. The world ends sunshine and rainbows. Well, this is just ad hominem. So we're gonna ignore that. 26% fail. Celebs stop brains post-eye. That's just gibberish. What the fuck is going on here? I understand that. Okay, I'm gonna be charitable and I'm just gonna take the first part and make it into an actual argument for them. How about that? How sweet am I? I'm a fucking angel. What fallacies in the anti-vegan argument? I misspelled argument every single time, god damn it. 86% of people going on a vegan diet fail. I'm purposefully calling it a vegan diet here because that's what anti-vegans would call it. Let's just keep it there. They didn't give us an argument. And by the way, we should ask for an argument here. So this is just a claim, right? Whether it's an empirical claim, whether it's true or not isn't even relevant right now, right? 86% of people going on a vegan diet fail, and that to make it into an argument, there should be, and therefore, something, right? A lot of people, even when you stress them to give an argument, are not going to give you an argument. Maybe because they don't have any. Maybe they hoping that I'll assume one and just start yelling at them about it. Don't give them that. If you're having a conversation with somebody and somebody says, wow, 86% fail, or wow, we do need nutrition like B12. ask them to make the argument, right? So we know, should we? I don't even know. I don't even know what the argument would be. Therefore, I shouldn't bother going vegan, something like that. I don't know. The argument 86% of going vegan or diet fail when used as an argument against veganism commits several informal fallacies. Here's a breakdown. Appeal to popularity, argument at the populum. Most people fail at veganism, so it must not be worth doing, which is what I assumed that they mean. What's up, Wolf J? Danny, Ishay, and Matthew Nagra have videos. On the, is it, yeah, it's on that study, I know what you mean. Wolf. Wolf, you used to write poems to me. Please resume. So, most people fail. This is a fallacy of popularity, assuming that because many people quit, the position is invalid or not worthwhile. But the truth and morality aren't determined by majority behavior. Plenty of valuable or ethical practices, ergo quitting smoking, exercising regularly, being honest, are also hard and have high dropout rates. Yeah. Oh, fuck, I hope I don't go back to smoking. False cause, misuse of statistics. The argument implies that people quitting veganism mean the diet itself is flawed or unhealthy, but people may fail at veganism for many reasons unrelated to its validity: social pressure, lack of education, it's reading the analytics, convenience, poor planning, cultural factors, not because veganism is inherently healthy or unethical. This is a misuse of correlation to imply causation. So, false cause. Survivorship bias, revised. It focuses only on those who fail, ignoring those who succeed long-term on the vegan diet and thrive. This is a subtle form of survivorship bias, but in reverse, assuming the failure are more telling than the successes, which distorts the big picture. There you go. Red herring, blah, blah, blah. We know what red herring is. They're just obfuscating. That's what red herring basically means. Obfuscation. Just distract. Appeal to futility or defeatism implies, the implied message is, if most people don't stick with it, it's not worth doing. This is a fallacy of defeatism. Assuming a goal isn't worth pursuing because it's hard, often unmet, but ethical change often starts hard and becomes easier over time. Civil rights, smoking bans, and blah, blah, blah. All right, let's continue. Hold on. Let's reduce that. Oof, this is a long one. Okay. Chickens lay eggs, we eat them. They don't care, they lay eggs all the time. Sometimes we have to take the eggs, or else if they start sitting on them and hatch them, there will be too many and lots of baby chicks will die. Jesus fucking Christ. Some grammar would be nice. What fallacies in... Bro, how do I make it? Chicken lay eggs all the time and don't care if we take them. That's, by the way, not fucking true. Maybe the factory farmed chickens don't care, but the backyard chickens, how I grew up, they care. They care. I remember fighting chickens to take the eggs. I remember doing it every single morning. It was my job, indeed, to take the eggs. So we would put the food, which was in a separate section, There was like a closed section where they could like lay eggs and stuff and spend some time. And then there was open sections, open. By that I mean it was closed, but it was like just with a chicken fence, right? And not with like bordered area. And so we would give them food in the open area, in the feeding trough. And then I would run and take the eggs. And sometimes once in a while, chickens are incredibly smart, especially when they get broody or whatever, right? So, because they want to mother. That's what they lay the eggs for. They would fight me like crazy, really fight me, but they would fight me every time. They would like go away from food just to come and see what I'm doing with their eggs, which of course I would take. If we take them, sometimes we must take the eggs, or chickens would hatch them. I'm trying to make it shorter. And hatch them. There would be too many chicks, and some of them will die. What a fake empathy there. Let's see what ChatGPT says. Jesus Christ, this was long. The argument, chickens lay eggs, blah, 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 commits multiple informal fallacies. Well, we're used to that, especially when used to justify egg consumption. Here's a breakdown. Appeal to ignorance, argument from lack of evidence. Chickens don't care if we take the eggs. That's one of the obvious ones. And I don't even think that it's like lack of evidence. I think that's just like a straight up lie. I have my own personal anecdote to support that. This assumes that because chickens don't express distress, they did in my case, in a human-like way, they just don't mind. But absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence, and many hens do show signs of distress, protectiveness, or frustration when eggs are removed, especially in more naturalized setting, which is how I grew up. This is how I was raised. I wouldn't say it's naturalized setting, but it wasn't. It was leaps and bounds from factory farmed type situation, right? It was a chicken coop, right? So it wasn't like just cages and troughs into which eggs would just fall. We must take the eggs to prevent overpopulation and chick death. That's false cause. This presents a false causal chain. Most eggs people consume are unfertilized. They won't hatch. Well, here specifically, I think they're talking about backyard eggs. I don't think they're talking about backyard eggs or like homesteading situation. I don't think they're talking about without rooster kind of situation. So if it's with a rooster, if it's like what it said, naturalized settings, then there would be a rooster to protect the hens and to like sometimes, yes, fertilize the eggs because you want to hatch the eggs, because you want to create more chickens. So my fucking childhood is coming back to me in a way that isn't nice. Right. So in commercial setting, eggs are incubated artificially, not left to hatch naturally. By the way, as vegans, we should talk more about the hatcheries and not just about the male baby chicks, but the actual reproduction slaves that are somewhere. There are chickens with roosters whose job, quote unquote, it is to just like fuck to have like for the hatchery, right? We should talk about that more. We should put a camera there, I think, in my opinion. Overpopulation doesn't occur in hope settings unless you are deliberately breeding chickens. That's true. So the idea that egg taking is necessary to prevent chick overpopulation and death is a false cause fallacy based on misrepresenting how egg industry and chicken function. I'm telling you, it's a lie. Naturalistic fallacy, appeal to nature. Chickens lay eggs all the time, therefore it's okay for us to take them. That wouldn't even be like nature though, because the nature though would be, well, let the chickens do whatever they want with the eggs, right? Just because something is natural egg laying doesn't mean it's morally permissible to exploit it. That's the naturalistic fallacy, assuming that what is or seems natural justifies what ought to be. Interesting way to say an appeal to nature fallacy. So what is doesn't justify what ought to be. I don't think it's specifically an appeal to nature fallacy though. I constantly use is versus ought in my site, but I never thought that it would be like an appeal to nature fallacy. It's closer to an appeal to tradition, in my opinion. Something to think about. Moralistic fallacy is ought confusion. That's the thing that I usually use. Chickens overproduce eggs, we must intervene. Therefore, we must intervene. Let me stand down. And I think I'm gonna go soon, Chip, so I'm not gonna be able to finish all of this, but this was fun. Maybe I should do it again. Chickens overproduce eggs, we must intervene. Even if it's true that industrial hens lay more eggs than wild hens due to selective breeding, it doesn't logically follow that humans are justified in exploiting that situation. By the way, the backyard hens come from the same place as the industrial hens. So that's a fallacy that's just like, it's just wrong, it's just incorrect. That moral leap from just fact or justification, which is fallacious without a clear ethical framework. Slippery slope. Yeah, so slippery slope. If we don't take eggs, many chicks will die. This plays in a chain of imagined consequences that never happen, that's for sure. That is unlikely to exaggerate it in most real-life scenarios, especially with unfertilized eggs. Well, obviously. It's an unstated slippery slope, relying on fear, blah, blah, blah. Let's do one more and then let's cut it off, unless you want me to check something very specific, guys. It's because of the we're not gonna do political stuff. I catch them, smoke them, and then eat them. There is nothing more wholesome or natural than catching and killing your own food. Maybe we can do it without ChatGPT, because I think this one is pretty fucking clear, right? Guys, propose if you think you know which fallacy this is. Yeah, next one isn't. You warned me. Appeal to nature, correct, Chip, thank you. It is an appeal to nature, just as saying just because it's natural doesn't mean that it's good, right? Non sequitur, what does it mean again? Non sequitur? It means that it's beside the point, right? Is that what non sequitur is? Doesn't follow. So the premise doesn't follow. Okay, not related. Yeah. And I can see another one. Appeal to bacon fallacy. I like it. Yeah. Just because catches them doesn't mean it's wholesome. Because he catches them doesn't mean it's wholesome. Well, that's the appeal to nature, isn't it? But I can see another one. Non sequitur conclusion doesn't follow premise. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it, Slim. So I can see another one. I can see the... Let me find it. It's red herring. So it's red herring. It distracts. It's like, oh, I just eat them. Distracts from the actual ethical conversation about whether it's okay or not to grab animals, slaughter them in the wild, and just eat them. Well, let's see what ChatGPT says. Let's see if we learned something today. Okay. What fallacies in the argument? I catch them, smoke them, then eat them. It's funny that I, of all people, have to add grammar into this thing. There is nothing more wholesome or natural than catching and killing your own food. Let's see what it says. The statement "I catch" is often used to morally justify eating animals, particularly in contrast to factory farming or processed foods. While it may sound appealing, it contains multiple informal fallacies when used as an argument against veganism or in favor of killing animals. An appeal to nature fallacy. Cheap. Well done. Catching and killing your own food is natural and wholesome, therefore it's morally right. This is the core fallacy. Just because something is natural, hunting, I don't know how hunting is natural, guys. I have no idea. So the word natural, the way it's defined, is untouched by humans. So we don't have almost nothing natural left because we touched fucking everything. Nature is bygones, guys. It's no longer with us in the room. That's it. It's gone. That's the definition of natural. Everything that isn't man-made. When somebody, I was arguing this, when somebody plants a tree in a forest, that tree is not part of nature because it was planted by a human being. That's it. It's done. And then she wouldn't last 3 days if everyone started hunting. Yeah, well, you know. Hunting, killing, eating meat, it doesn't follow that it is good, ethical, or justified. Lots of natural behaviors, violence, disease, aging, dominance, hierarchies are not morally endorsed in modern societies. This is textbook example of the appeal to nature fallacy. I'm sure this person would love to hear this shit. If you could go back to this comment and just drop this on them. Begging the question, assuming wholesomeness equals moral justification. The argument presumes that if something feels wholesome or authentic, it's justified. But that's what needs to be proven. It assumes that it assumes what it's trying to argue. Yeah, that's actually, I have to remember that. It assumes what it's trying to argue. That personal involvement in killing somehow makes the act morally better. That's circular reasoning. Yes. Red herring, I said it. The argument shifts the focus from the morality of killing animals to an aesthetic or emotional appeal of hunting your own food. Instead of answering whether it is right to kill animals when we have alternative, it distracts from how natural or hands-on the process is. False dichotomy. Well, we got a lot of fallacies on this one, guys. The argument may suggest either you hunt your food naturally or you eat processed junk, support factory farms. Does it assume that? I didn't even think of that. Yeah. I guess by saying catching and killing your own food is the most wholesome and natural thing to do, it does imply that. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Tom. So the statement may suggest either you hunt your food or naturally or eat processed junk, support factory farms. This ignores a third option, not eating animals at all. It sets up a false choice between two extremes, including ethical veganism and plant-based alternatives. And the fifth one is, I didn't know that I should read up on what moral relativism actually is. I have no fucking idea. But I didn't know that it's like an actual fucking fallacy. If used to argue it's wholesome to me, then morality becomes subjective. Well, morality is subjective. Someone needs to disambiguate this, like in a huge fucking way, the morality is subjective thing, because every person, and I know it sounds funny to say this, right? But every person just say what they want about what it actually means for morality to be subjective. And I know, but like we have to agree on the definitions, even if we agree that morality itself is subjective. We at least have to define what morality is subjective actually fucking means, right? So, or based on traditional feelings rather than on the impact on sentient beings. This isn't a formal fallacy per se, but it weakens the ethical basis of the argument and avoids universal moral reasoning. I like this. Okay, I like this. So we can say just because morality is subjective, which it is, it's a matter of us conjuring it from our minds, and it's not a matter of God bringing it upon us like a fucking brick, right? But it doesn't mean that we can't like reason about it, right? It doesn't mean that it can be based on feelings alone, on vibes or whatever. We should still like apply logic and reasoning up onto it and see if it's consistent. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. What do you think, Chip? Do you like that? Took a snapshot. That's good. If you want to, I can send you the entire fucking conversation. If you want to. Would you like to counter argument? That's fine. Respectfully, who gives a shit respect? I'm gonna scream on them, ChatGPT. Respectfully, my fucking ass. I'm gonna call them a piece of shit. And then I'm gonna explain to them why they're a piece of shit. It's fine. All right. Guys, we're done. Thank you for joining me for this evening. I think this was fun. Let me know if you liked it. Maybe we can do it again. We still have quite a few items on the list. We're only up to 12, and about 6 of them I debunked personally. So we can do it again if you want. Just put one in the chat if you want me to do it again. Not next week, maybe at some point in our lives. Maybe later. Put 2 in the chat if you found this too strenuous or something, or for whatever reason you don't want me to do this again. Wow. Yeah, you've learned something, Tom. That's good. Awesome. Awesome. So 0 objections. We will do it again. Thank you everybody very much for coming, and I'll see you next time.